Hello today, everyone. We are back again for reason number 27 today. So many reasons for living, and they just keep coming. So just keep watching and sharing, guys. I want to tell the whole world why we are all so important, so loved, why we all matter. So, this woman was one of my bosses at my first job, and we got along so great. Talked about music and people, and she was a damn good worker. She taught me how to be as well. She was always so bright and funny, and I just adored working with her. She was such a fantastic person to just chill with. And she never judged me for anything I told her, for anything we talked about, or anything that I had to say. She never made me feel stupid. She was just my friend, and I loved her for it. The night she saved my life is actually kind of a long story. So I'm gonna try not to elaborate too much on everything. I had accidentally cut myself while breaking down boxes with the box cutter at work. And it was pretty bad. It bled a lot. There were 2 managers on shift that night, and this woman was one of them. Since I was only 17, she agreed to take me to the hospital while the other manager called my parents and told them what happened. So her and I left for the ER, and she stayed with me while the doc gave me stitches. While he was doing my stitches, I ended up passing out, literally off the bed and into his lap. According to this woman, it was both terrifying and hilarious to watch. After finishing the stitches and getting me recovered from passing out, she agreed to take me home. When we arrived at my house, there was a police vehicle outside. And so I immediately panicked, wondering what was wrong with my fam. Who's hurt? What happened? And as we parked, my mom came running out of the house, screaming. She was furious because she didn't know where I was and had assumed that I was out partying like a normal teenager. And had called the police to try to find me, because this was before the world of cell phones and she couldn't just call me. I managed to get out of the car and to let this woman just drive away so that I could talk with my mom and this officer. And me and my mom began to argue about where I was, and I showed her my pretty hospital bracelet and the bandages and explained that I promise I was legitimately at the hospital, Mom. And she argued that that was impossible because I was under 18 and they would have had to call for consent to treat me. But no one had. Neither the other manager or the hospital ever contacted my parents. I thought to show her the discharge paperwork as a little bit of extra proof, and realized I left it in this woman's car. Mom had thanked the officer for his time, and we began to head inside, and she was still very heated and wasn't quite believing my story. What we didn't know was that this officer chased this woman down the road, pulled her over, and asked her to take the paperwork back to my house so that I could show it to my mom. And she did. What my friend and the police officer didn't know was that, yes, I had been going through a very rebellious stage at home. There was a lot of fighting already going down between me and my parents, and they had right to not believe me. And even once she brought the paperwork back to us, me and Mom continued to argue, and it eventually became an argument between me and Mom and Dad, and it went well into the night. And by the end of the night, I had decided that I was just not going to rely on my parents for anything. Like, I just didn't want to be an inconvenience to them if that I was being an asshole. And I was going to prove it. So, next day, I had to go into work to fill out the paperwork for the workman's compensation. I didn't even tell my parents I was leaving. I just left. And I walked my happy ass into town. It took me quite a long time, and my legs hurt a lot by the time I got there. And all along the length of that walk, I cursed myself, and the sky, and the sun on my skin. I just hated the whole world. I was ready to be done with it all. And once again began to imagine ways that I could just walk off my path and disappear. It'd be so easy. When I made it to work, this woman was already there. Her and I went through the paperwork, got everything filed, and afterward, she offered to buy me some food and to let me come hang out with her after she clocked off if I wanted. One moment. It was one moment, and amid my pain, I reached for that hand in the dark, and I nodded. When she clocked off work, she took me to her house, and she let me rage and cry, and we listened to loud, angry music. In one moment of kindness, in one offer, she saved my life by giving me some place to run for just an evening. She had offered to let me stay overnight with her too, but again, I was still underage, and I didn't want her to get in any kind of legal trouble. So I had her take me back home. No further trouble came with my parents that night outside of where you been all day. And I told them, and okay, no big deal, I came home. So, Amber, episode 27 is for you. You saved my life that day, and I don't think you ever even knew it. But it matters. You are such an incredible human being, and I am proud to say that we have been friends for so long. I remember crying with you when the doctors told you that you could never have kids. And look at you now, girl. 4 already. And I'm pretty sure, didn't I see on Facebook the other day a post that you're now having twins on the way? That's so beautiful. You are beautiful. Everything about who you are and what you bring to this world matters. You matter. Thank you for being here with all of us. For waking up every day and for being there for me that day so long ago. I'm here today because of you, and that matters. It will always matter. Episode 27, Amber.